Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time stopping by the channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button to tune in for weekly automotive and family content. And to you guys placing your Amsoil orders through me, thank you so much. If you didn't know that I'm an Amsoil dealer, check out the description below and I'll have a link up here. It benefits the channel, it helps support the channel so we can continue to bring you guys content. I'm looking for all kinds of ways to make some extra side money to help the channel out so we can continue doing these videos. Today, I'm back out at Chester County Transmissions for the video that a lot of you guys have been asking me for. I'm getting all kinds of messages in the comments, private messages on Instagram, and we're here. We're here with Andy. He's gonna go over some of the transmission overhaul specifics and the costs associated with that. And not just for my truck, but for any other vehicle as well. So it's gonna be sort of broad, but narrow at the same time, if that makes any sense. We'll associate some of this stuff that we talk about with my actual truck.
We make the streams louder.
What's going on, guys? Good to see you again. As far as the Amsoil goes, I'm expecting my delivery, Steve. I
know we got to get you set up as a retail account. We're going to do that today before I go.
We can do that. We can do that. But I just need to get my oil in because I got transmissions to fill. All right. So, like Steve said, I want to go over what's inside of an automatic transmission, whether it's front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, give you guys an idea of how many parts, the complexities. So when we talk about price and when you want to know how much it costs to overhaul the transmission, you have a better idea of the ins and outs. So what we have set up here is a very common 6-speed transmission, okay? It's a Chrysler product, so I wanted to stay within that brand for all you Ram guys. But this is a front wheel drive transmission. It's what you would typically see inside of a Chrysler Pacifica, Town and Country, Caravan, your Chrysler 200s. It has its issues. So as soon as manufacturers decide we want better fuel economy, we're going to go from 4-speed to 6-speed. The only way to fit more speeds in the same package, you got to make things smaller and lighter. And this is what we saw in the 68 RFE also. We have small, light aluminum components that fail. In the Ram, it's that clutch housing, right? Well, we had the exact same issue in this transmission here, and this here is that clutch housing. So we can see if we look closely, clutches in the housing. The main issue that happens here, this right here is a Teflon ring. And this is a Teflon ring. And if you see, this ring goes whoop, 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 back and forth, just flopping in the breeze, hot dog down the hallway. That's a problem, okay? That nobody likes that. And in the transmission is a huge issue. So Chrysler updated this. There is an updated design. Again, this is a common failing component. So we do have one we're going to show you that is of that updated design, and it'll make a little more sense when we see it later in the video. I do want to point out though for you guys, this is an example of some burnt clutches. I know we've kind of gone over that before, but these are clearly failed. They're nice and black and roasted. Smells like burnt hair. If you ever pull your dipstick out of your transmission and it smells like burnt hair, call me. Back here, this is more or less a good clutch. You know, these ones aren't so bad. All right. So we have we have 2-4 clutches. This is reverse. You know, so this unit did suffer from failures across the board. The reality is though, these failures that we're looking at here started right here in this housing. So to even make the suggestion that perhaps, well, I've looked it up online, I know what's wrong with my transmission, this drum's bad. You're right, this drum is bad. This is what this drum did to this transmission though. So you're not going to go in and just replace this drum and everything's going to be hunky-dory. So here's all the parts. Here's some of our electronics. This is our solenoid block on top of our valve body. Front planet, another component that's known to fail. If we look closely, there's welds right here. This is called a pinion. This is a planet, spins on this pinion, okay? These welds are known to break. Another highly failed component. So now you guys have an idea of all the parts, and there's even more because we don't actually have our valve body apart, but within reason, you know, I want to at least give you guys an idea. So we're going to go from here, we're going to go into our meeting and training room. I have a whole bunch of stuff to show you guys there, so let's go. So here we are. What you guys can see here, what I have laid out are all the parts as they would come when we're doing a transmission overhaul. When I say we, I very specifically mean we, because I do want to draw a distinction between what we do and what happens out there in the industry and at other shops. Again, to help you understand what costs are involved and why some prices may be more expensive than others. So the most important thing that I want to point out to you is what you see here with these two torque converters. That's what we're looking at right here. Now, obviously, these are two different torque converters. This is out of a BMW 7 Series, this one right here, okay? This torque converter is remanufactured and it's out of a 62 TE, which is the transmission that we're mainly talking about, but we're also integrating the 68 RFE. Real quickly, what's the big difference that you see just looking at these two besides shape? It's color, right? This one's painted, this one's not. So when you're dealing with an automatic transmission or torque converter, you have no idea what's going on from the outside looking in, okay? All I gotta do is add a coat of paint to this one right here, and it's gonna look just like this one. And then you're gonna wanna ask me, well, why does this one cost so much more than this one? What counts is what's on the inside. And that's in life too, guys. It's what on the inside counts, all right? So we're gonna keep on moving. So this here is what we'll call a base overhaul kit or a banner kit, okay? We'll open up the box, and again, all this stuff is for the Chrysler front wheel drive application. So we're gonna get inside here. We're gonna see clutches, right? These are clutches for inside the transmission. And what we have here is like a paper rubber kit. We have all the gaskets, pump gaskets, axle seals, all the little stuff. Here's valve body gaskets. These are the necessary gaskets to reseal the transmission, okay? And that's about it. That's all we see. Now you guys saw what was on the table in there, and you realize we haven't seen anything like what's on the table yet. This is just your base, bare bones, not doing anything for us as far as I'm concerned, okay? That's that kit. Well, we're gonna move on to this kit here. This is what would be considered a master overhaul kit, most importantly with pistons. So remember what we saw in that one. We're gonna take a look inside this box. Okay, so already we're seeing something different. We're seeing clutches, but oh, what is this? These are steels. This is what's necessary to make a proper clutch pack. If you are using this kit, which only has frictions, not steels, well, how are we going to build this transmission, guys? Well, we're going to reuse these steels with those frictions, kind of like cutting a corner, all right? Next thing that we see in here, pistons. This is a piston. This piston is used to apply these clutches. This is vulcanized. Well, again, this is out of the little rinky-dinky front-wheel drive. It's not quite as machismo as your Ram, but that's understandable. That's okay. You know, this isn't big boy toys. That's not what we're dealing with here. But it does pay the bills. So, piston, and they're considered molded pistons because the rubber is vulcanized onto the steel backing here. Piston. Let's real quick. Let's go back to this kit. Where are the pistons at? There's no pistons. So this is what we would consider a proper overhaul kit. This is what it takes to get the job done right the first time. And this is what we did when we worked on the Beast truck. We didn't cut any corners. We got molded pistons, right? We got a proper overhaul kit that had steels and frictions. We didn't cut any corners, all right? This is a big difference from this. So I'm hoping at this point we can kind of already see why prices, how can there possibly be a fixed price between any two of these? So just for fun, I have a kit here from, look at it, look, everybody knows this symbol, right? This is from Mopar, woo, right? From the dealer. For this transmission, you guys have to be thinking, this is the bee's knees, right? Here you go. Because again, we get compared to the dealer, like, whoa, why are you guys more expensive than the dealer? Here's why. So this is the overhaul kit that the dealer is providing for this transmission. Now again, we've talked about how it's problematic. We've talked about the drum issues. Before I open this box, let's take a look at the drum. So here is the updated drum right here. Okay, we'll bring it over so we can see it. What's most important is if you see the Teflon groove here, you can see how small that is versus the one in the back that's failed. Also, the modifications that they've done, this groove right here, that will catch the Teflon ring and to keep it from spinning. That was the failure in the original drum. That Teflon ring could actually spin during normal operation, and that would actually cause this groove to wear out. That's the main failure. In some instances, this drum actually will completely explode, because if you look how thin this wall is, look, see how thin that is? That's, you know, less than the thickness of a penny. I mean, come on, you know? But we need 6 speeds where there was 4, so we have to cut corners, we have to make things small. In either case, we do have an updated design here. That's this drum. Again, we get it through an aftermarket company that makes this modification. Now, so we're going to go inside this kit from Mopar. And look, here we have, right here, here's our drum. Because they know it's problematic, so they've supplied the drum. And we have a few gaskets here. And we have, you know, some seals. And what else do we have? We have a piston, one piston. And we have some clutches, which are good. And we do have some steels, which are good. But what are we missing? There's definitely something missing. Let's go back over here. Let's count them. There are 3 pistons in this transmission. Well, what's Dodge thinking? I mean, they gave me 1. You know, what good is that? So you'd think this would be a complete kit. Now, granted, yes, there is a filter. If you guys have seen already, I do have a filter, replacement filter right here. You know, again, it's from the dealer. It's a Chrysler product. Again, most of what we deal with is specifically from the manufacturer for the most part. A lot of reasons we use some of this aftermarket suppliers because they do have some updates and modifications and some small improvements. But even the kit from the dealer, it has shorted us. So for the sake of comparison, we can't put a price on any one of these. I mean, some are a lot less comprehensive than others. Some have cut corners compared to others. Just would go over a few other things that we do inside this transmission. This here is a replacement front planet. I showed you guys that earlier. You know, I mean, that one wasn't failed. These ones, obviously, these welds are good. This is the front planet. We talked about the drum. Here's our filter, you know, from the dealer. Electronics, another point of contention and point of comparison. You know, again, this isn't apples to apples, as I'm pointing out. When we are doing these builds, these are the electronics that we're going to replace, okay? We have right here, we have a reman, we have a solenoid block, and it's not a reman, this one is new, okay? It's still in its packaging from the dealer. We have torque converter solenoid, controls the torque converter. We have a pressure transducer, and again, if you guys can see these boxes, they have the M. All right, these are from the dealer. All right, we're not cutting any corners. Flow valve, updated flow valve. Again, from Mopar, it's an issue. Loop valve, right there. Here are our speed sensors. You know, we're not cutting any corners. So in the end, just like we did with the Ram truck, okay, with the 68 RFE, we didn't cut any corners. When we're building a transmission, we're not cutting any corners. So how much do you ask for an overhaul? That's a great question. So the only way I can answer it is 2 things. One, I need to know what's bad inside the transmission. And then realistically, you have to come to terms with the quality of the work that you want. We're not interested in sending anything out the door that's anything less than 110%, okay? So we're going to use this kit, we're going to use all these individual pieces, which means it's going to be an expensive overhaul. And in some instances, it can even be more expensive than what you get with the dealer, because even the dealer cut some corners. So when it comes to the Ram truck, what does something like that cost? The same concepts basically apply. The type of work that we did on that when we were dealing with Suncoast kits, Suncoast converters, billet, flywheels, and flex plates, and the whole bit, that's easily a $4,000 plus job. There are options when it comes to torque converters, whether you're using triple disc. You can do single disc with just a billet cover. You can also do dual disc. Those obviously are going to move price points around. Whether or not you go with just the updated drum and all of its clutches, associated clutches, you can do that and go with a master kit like this that's going to come with all the pistons and all the rest of the frictions, you know? All of these are going to have different price points. So whenever I'm talking with a customer about a job and I'm selling a job, I give a range. And hopefully when you watch this video, you can understand why that range is important. You know, a typical overhaul on a front wheel drive like this is $2,500 to $3,500. And again, warranty comes into play. You know, if I'm going to cut corners and I'm going to say, I just want to do something with a 12-month, 12,000 mile warranty, it's a really cheap price. Now this is the ugly side of the industry. You saw all those clutches in the other room, right? I showed you ones that were burnt, but I also showed you ones that weren't. So, hypothetically, and this is not anything that we would ever do remotely, but it is something that happens in the industry, I could reuse those clutches that weren't burnt. I could just replace the burnt ones, reuse the steels, put another drum in it, and I could charge you a pretty decent amount of money. Tell you have a 12-month, 12,000 mile warranty, because it'll last at least that long. But what do you really get? And you're not going to know from the outside. Just like these torque converters, with the right coat of paint on this torque converter, they look the same. They're both black. When that transmission's installed in your vehicle, you're not going to know the difference. It comes down to trust, it comes down to workmanship, it comes down to a commitment to excellence and quality, and that is what we do here. So back to the Ram, you know, $4,000 is probably a bottom end price to do just some of the necessary mods, like, you know, the clutch drum. That's kind of a required mod to do at least a billet skin converter, and then really almost the sky's the limit. As I'm sure all you guys know, you know what you can do with all the gear train, with the input shaft. I mean, you know that the sky's the limit. But at least if you can take nothing away, $4,000 will at least get you something that's going to be reliable, that's going to have some of the biggest mods that this transmission needs, and at least get you going down the road, stomping it. So I hope you guys have taken a lot from this. I know we hit a lot of stuff pretty quick, but you know, I think it's important for you guys to understand that in this business, it's not apples to apples. And there are a lot of guys out there that are willing to say, hey, here's this lowball price, but there's absolutely a reason, because you can leave some stuff out. We don't do it that way. We never will. But if you guys have any questions, please ask Steve. Or no, but really, you can call me. You can go on our website, give me a ring. I'm more than happy to spend as much time as you want. Just this week I spent probably 2.5 hours talking with this awesome guy named Sergio out of Houston, Texas. Really cool cat. He's working on a Ram truck. He's doing mods. He's getting prices. We've gone back and forth. Great relationship. I'm sending him a t-shirt next week. So yeah, if you guys want to talk, you want me to send you a t-shirt, just give me a ring. I'm here.
Oh, dude, you're asked for it now. Your phone's going to be ringing off the hook, and you're going to be sending T-shirts out like daily.
Yeah, well, hey, that can't be the worst kind of advertising. No. You know what I mean? So. And just to clarify, guys, the mods that we did to my transmission were like pretty much the bare minimum if you have a tuned diesel truck. Like I wouldn't go any lower than that. I mean, right. we went with the Suncoast triple disc converter. Yeah. I didn't realize Andy can get it rebuilt and one built for me before that. So I just wanted to make sure I had one on hand. If I would have known that beforehand, I probably would have just had Andy get one built for me. And it is true. I mean, that, you know, we use a great torque converter remanufacturer here, one of the best ones on the East Coast. Matter of fact, he has had a part in developing some of the updates and modifications for torque converters for Sonax. So he's a great guy, and that's who would build our converters. It's Pat's Converters. We'll give a quick name drop there. Does awesome work. Really, really reliable. I can call him anytime. We go back and forth. I have him cut converters open for me. We talk about what's bad inside. That'd be another great video. I have a converter that we can open up and I can show you guys what's inside. Talk about a little bit how they work. But with that said, yeah, I mean, I agree with Steve. When we talked with Sergio, you know, I think he's going to go with a single disc with a billet skin. And I just don't think that's the way to go. I agree with Steve that what we did really was the bare minimum. Yeah, you might maybe on the flex plate, but you're there. And in the end of it, just like when we did that coolant bypass, I mean, you're there, guys, right? So when and you know, you've heard me say this before, we don't want to cut corners. We don't want to do it again. You know, we don't want to be back in this in 6 months or 16 months. So you're there, let's do it. The converter's not that much more, the flex plate's not that much more, and just makes sense to do it. But yeah, I think what we did is the bare minimum, like I said. $4,000, maybe $4,500 gets you in and out. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. And if you have any questions, make sure you hit him up and stop texting me. No, I'm just kidding. Call him. I try to respond to all your messages. I really do. It's just sometimes I do work a full-time job. But hopefully this answers your questions. So we're looking at about $4,000. That's for everything: labor, parts, the whole kit and caboodle for something similar of what I did. So, and that's going to make it safe for you for the time being. But Andy's not going to guarantee. That's another question that guys were asking. What's the guarantee horsepower rating for your transfer bill? He can't guarantee that. That's just it. I mean, they're obviously, I'm sure you guys have come across plenty of companies that say, okay, this is a 500 horsepower, 1,000 foot-pound torque transmission, or this here is our max kill 1,000 horsepower, 1,500 foot-pounds of torque transmission. I mean, that kind of stuff can be established, but it's loose at best. I mean, really, at best. The only thing we can do is make sure we're putting in good components, and that is the difference here. I mean, you guys have seen everything that's inside a transmission at this point. All right, you guys know by eyesight more than what most people know about automatic transmissions. So you have to be able to appreciate that there's only so many components that you can replace. You can only make so many components bigger, badder, and stronger. So there's going to be a limit, and a lot of it comes down to use. I mean, you can build a transmission that will be, can handle 1,000 horsepower when you're dragging it, but you're not going to be able to do a four-wheel smoky burnout in it, though, because that's just going to kill it. And again, as you guys know too, there's always something that's going to break. Once you have the transmission that never breaks, you're twisting your drive shaft, you know what I mean? You're spinning axle ends. So there's always something that's going to break. I mean, I'm not here to poo-poo any of those guys out there that are building these heavy-duty transmissions. There's no doubt that there's a lot of billet components that are going in there, and they are doing everything that they can do. I mean, I'm not really here to badmouth any other shop, and that's why you haven't heard me mention any other shop, because that's not the approach that I like to take. I wouldn't want anybody talking bad about me. Mama said. But yeah. I can never guarantee that your 500 horsepower truck is never going to break with my transmission. I wish I could, and you know, hey, if I could, I'd probably be selling them every day, left and right. But just being real, just trying to be really real with everybody, and give you the best advice possible.
Now I'm officially going to end this video. It's a lot of good information. Thanks, Andy. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
We love coming to this shop. We might be back soon. Well, we are going to be back soon because we got to go over the transmission. You want to do a follow-up on the transmission.
Yeah.
You know, 2 weeks. Actually, we're probably about 4-week follow-up now at this point.
It's a follow-up though.
But I don't drive that much. I maybe put on 200 miles since the rebuild, so you know it's not that bad.
I mean, we like 500 miles, so we're good.
Yeah.
By the time we do it, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's running awesome, and I'm running the hot tune right now. It's shifting awesome. Strong, firm, tough shifts. I'm happy with it. Very, very happy with it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, make sure you give it a thumbs up anyway.
Yeah,
and if
thumbs it up.
And if you're stopping by for the first time, like I said in the beginning of the video, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Don't break your phone though. Don't do that. And we'll see you on the next upload.